Finland, the happiest country in the world for 4 continuous years from 2018 until 2021. So, as a Saudi lady who's living in Finland for almost 1 year, I had a lot of cultural shocks, a lot of things that have been weird to me. Don't get me wrong, I love being in Finland, but there were things that were pretty creepy to adjust. And for your own record, I've been living in Poland before coming to Finland for almost 7 years, so I'm not someone who is fresh from Saudi and had to adjust to all the European culture before coming to Finland. I have lived in Poland, and I still had cultural shock. So in this video, I'm gonna tell you about cultural shock that I faced, things that have been pretty weird to me in this country. So let's get started with this video. Number one is the weather. Right now we are in midsummer. They call it Juhannus. It's literally this eve. So today is Friday. So today's eve is Juhannus Eve. And the weather is extremely warm. Well, it's not as hot as Saudi Arabia, but I mean, it is 30 degrees right now during summer, and during winter, it was extremely freezing, minus 25 degrees. So you can see these two huge differences got me conflicted about the weather, that during winter I have to dress many layers and get pretty warm. And I remember the apartment was extremely cold, so we had to use heaters, radiators. And during summer right now, we don't have ACs, which is another point we're going to talk about, which is like the apartment is extremely warm. Well, 30 degrees, but still it is warm in my opinion. Another thing that I have to wear hijab when I go out, so you can imagine how warm it is to go out in the street with hijab, but that's going to be another point as well. So the second thing I'm going to talk about is the ACs. In Saudi, it is warm. It is extremely warm during summer. It reaches 50 degrees Celsius, and during winter, well, the coldest, I guess, is like 25 degrees, at least in the city I came from. I came from Jeddah, which is near the sea. So that's how the weather is, and it is, what is it called? It's not dry, but it's moist, mostly, the weather during the whole year. But in Saudi, the thing is that we have ACs almost everywhere. So you're basically from your home, you do have ACs, you go to the car, AC, and you go to your destination. Either it's a mall, either it's a bank, either it's a cafe. Everything has ACs, literally everywhere. Third point I'm going to talk about is making friends in Finland. Well, I came 1 year ago, so it was the beginning of Corona, and Corona is still going on here. I had classes from the beginning when I came, but most of my classes, they were online. Well, they're still online, so I barely met my colleagues. So that was pretty hard to make friends. I was working for a while as well at the airport. I made a lot of friends. They're extremely nice. They're so nice. But the only problem that you can just have them as colleagues, not as friends. In Saudi, if I'm in the street and I meet, for example, a lady that I admire, I can just talk to her and be a friend with her. Or, for example, I go to a coffee shop and just start having conversation with random people. Well, not the guys, but still. It was pretty easy. Even when I was in Poland, it was, well, okay, that's another topic, okay? Let's not get to there. I had friends in Poland, but most of the friends that I didn't get from the street, of course, I got them while being in classes or volunteering or doing something out of the university thing. And as well, in Poland it wasn't easy to get Polish friends unless they are people who most of their life lived abroad. So they were really open-minded and they were open to see people from different backgrounds. And I guess it's the same situation here in Finland because I met a couple here and they're so sweet. They lived most of their life outside Finland. I would say, I remember they said in Britain, in UK, they're extremely open-minded people. Well, in my opinion, the case of this situation is that I'm a Saudi. If, for example, I've never left Saudi before, if I still in Saudi right now, I wouldn't make friends with other people than Saudis. You know what I mean? So basically, if you're in a country with and you have friends with people from your background, from your culture, from your religion, from whatever you have in common, you don't want to go beyond that. You don't want to go out of your comfort zone and meet new people and see new culture unless that you have been in a similar situation. So my point here is I couldn't find Finns to be friends with right now, yet at least, because I believe that, well, first of all, I didn't speak Finnish yet. I've been taking courses, but I'm not fluent yet. So that, I guess, made it even harder to make friends for me right now. Beside the corona situation, beside different religion, different culture, because people have boundaries and have comfort zones that they don't want to cross, and I totally get it, but hopefully in the future I'll have some friends. Number 4, public transportation. This is a funny topic, at least in my opinion. It's pretty funny. When I came to Finland, I've been told by my husband that even before corona situation, people while waiting for the bus, they used to keep 2-meter distance between them because that's the Finnish culture. People are not social, so they keep distance while waiting. And I noticed that when I came to Finland, it was corona time. So that well, like, okay, I would understand because of corona. But then when I started to use the public transportation, I'm using currently buses, tram, metro, you name it. So, and even trains. What I noticed that when people use public transportation, you would see the whole area, the whole seats, and people sit one and then another and then another and then another. They don't sit next to each other. And I got so annoyed when I first saw that because people rather stand up than to sit next to each other or sit to a stranger. That's how antisocial Finns are. I'm sorry, Finns, I respect you, but this for me is just too much. Even when I was in Finland and I was in Poland, it wasn't like that. People used to sit next to each other even if they're strangers and they don't know each other. Well, I cannot say anything about Saudi because in Saudi we don't have public transportation. Well, we weren't. Well, right now we have a train. The point is, that is, in my opinion, just extreme to have these gaps, these nonsense gaps between people. It can be an opportunity to make friends, but I guess that's the whole point. Finns do not sit next to each other because they don't want to make friends. Who knows? 5th point, drinking water. In Saudi, I used to drink bottled water. We get like a whole big, really big bottles of water to drink from. It was the same situation in Poland when I was living there. I was living in Poland alone, so I would get like bottles around 12 per week, or I would use a filter. to just fill a jug, and the jug filters the water, and then I can drink from the filtered water. When I came to Finland and I noticed people, well, they just literally take a cup and open the tap water and fill the cup and drink directly from the water, from the tap water. I was like, isn't the water dirty? It shouldn't be filtered and whatever. And they're like, well, in Finland, we have the cleanest water, so you shouldn't be scared, or you shouldn't feel afraid to get sick from drinking tap water, because it's pretty safe, and that's what they've been doing since forever. Well, 6 points. The 6 point. Oh, well, it's a little bit hard to explain to people. Well, in Saudi, when I was a child, I remember we used to have, well, we still have back home, but it's now my parents' house. Every family has a maid and a driver, which is essential for every household. It's not a luxury, it's like a must in Saudi to have a maid and a driver, especially in the area. Before, women were allowed to drive a car. Nowadays, women can drive a car, so it's fine. But before, well, they're not as common. The drivers are not as common as before. But back in the days, my parents used to have a maid and a driver. So if I want to go to school, I go with a driver, with my mom and my siblings. So we just go with the driver, come back with the driver. So we go to school, we come home, everything is clean, everything is neat, food is ready. We literally have to do nothing. Everything was ready for us, everything is clean, the food was ready. I didn't have to move a finger. When I moved to Poland, and I had the shock that I have my own apartment. I have to take care of this apartment. I have to clean it myself. I have to make food by myself. And I guess I would say this is like European thing, not like especially Finland thing. It's like European thing that people actually, or like, I don't know if it's like worldwide, but I guess we're like, the Middle Eastern people were like spoiled people. So I had an apartment, I have to take care of it, I have to clean the toilets, I have to clean the rooms, I have to make food myself. That was pretty challenging because, when you grow up having everything ready for you, and then when you are old, you have to do everything by yourself, it's a little tricky. Especially, cleaning toilet for me, it was like something pretty hard. I didn't know how to do, along with making food. So it took me almost 6 years to know exactly how to cook food. Well, it wasn't funny at the beginning, but right now I know how to do it. The 7th point I'm going to tell you about is the nature here in Finland. Well, I would say that more or less the nature around Europe is similar. So a lot of greeneries during summer, pretty dark and snowy during winter. Well, I didn't have that back when I was living in Saudi. Like, the whole year was similar. Everything would look similar during the whole year. Here, for example, during summer, people go swimming, and just you can see the beach, you can go to the sea and you swim there. And here in Finland, there are a lot of järvi, oh god, I forgot my English. A lot of ponds, a lot of lakes where people just can take off their clothes and just go swimming, or take their swimming suit and go swimming. And that's pretty normal. Or just go swimming pools and swim there. Well, that wasn't the case in Saudi. A few years back, women were not allowed to swim in the beach because they have to be covered all the time. They cannot just wear a bikini and go swim. And when I was living in Poland, that was like almost impossible to wear my bikini and go to public swimming pool and swim, because people, and I'm sorry, Poles, I love Poland so much, but Polish people were racist to me in some way, in certain way. So it was kind of impossible to just wear a bikini and go swim, because people will start judging you. They will telling you to go out of the swimming pool because you're not wearing bikini, the proper clothes to swim. They will give you looks. They will start cursing, shouting, whatever. So I heard about that. So I've never went swimming in Poland. Most of the summers, I would just go and travel somewhere around the world, not necessarily Europe, and I would just wear my bikini and swim. When I came to Finland, and I've been told by my husband that it is okay to wear a bikini and just go swim, I was like, I was spectacle at the beginning. I was like, won't people judge me here? Won't people look at me and just start calling me or cursing me names? And he said, no, you have to try it yourself. So that's what I did. The first time I came to Finland, it was last year during summer. It was perfect weather to swim. So I put on my bikini and I went to a lake with people swimming. And I was shocked that no one, and literally no one, was staring at me because I was wearing bikini and swimming. No one cursed me, no one called me name, no one did anything. It was pretty normal for people to see a lady wearing bikini and swimming. Which brings me to my 8th point. Here in Finland, people are well educated, highly educated. They know exactly the cultural differences. They know that there are different religions, they respect different religions, they acknowledge them, and that's it. We don't have anything to do with them, they don't have to do anything with us. So it's kind of the same, kind of like they are well educated. Whereas when I was in Poland, I guess people just have the idea of Muslims that they're tourists and nothing more. I remember when I was in Poland, living in Poland, I faced a lot of racism. Again, I'm sorry, Poland. I love Poland so much, but I'm just speaking the truth here. I faced a lot of racism in the first years I was living there, but then things got better, and by the end of my studies, there were shield people there in Poland. But here, since the first day I came to Finland, I've never faced any racism. People were just so sweet to me. Well, I heard some people say that Finns are eager to help other people. So they have that, they're so helpful people. You can just rely on them to help you. So I don't know if that's true, but from what I saw while working here in Finland, that they're pretty nice people. 9th point. The 9th point I'm going to talk about is the food here in Finland. Well, I'm a big fan of Indian food, spicy food, things, food with a lot of spices. Arabic food, for example. But the thing is about Arabic food, Middle Eastern food, that food is full of oil and full of meat. I came to Finland and I discovered rye bread. For those who don't know, it's a bread that is healthy, kinda. But I really admire it. I really love it. I eat it almost every morning with a cup of coffee and milk on the side, which is like perfect breakfast. So I tried a lot of Finnish food, like mammi with cream. Of course, there are a lot of ice creams, different flavors, which is Finland is one of the largest consumer of ice cream in the world. Ironically, I guess, because it's most of the time it's cold, but yeah, still. So I admire the healthy food here in Finland. Well, it's not everything, because I tried some food and I didn't actually like them. I don't actually like the traditional food because they were tasteless to me. I'm sorry, Finns, but yeah, I admire that they mostly consume healthy food here in Finland. 10th and last point I'm going to talk about is the housing here and comparing to Saudi Arabia. In Saudi Arabia, my parents' house, we have like a big house, and this is like normal for every family in Saudi to have their own house, 3 floors house. Each person has their own bedroom. There is like living room, 2 kitchen, one upstairs, one downstairs, and there's like room in the basement for the driver and room in the rooftop for the maid. They were like huge. The houses back in Saudi are huge, like mansion, I would say. I went to Poland and I came to Finland and I noticed the housing here are different. For example, the biggest house, kind of the biggest for normal families here in Finland is if a family has a house, they're like maximum 2 floors, few bedrooms, because the families here are not as big as families in Saudi Arabia. So I guess that kind of makes sense. And or people just prefer to stay in apartments, and that wasn't like necessary. But besides, they can get boat and can get summer cottage, and that's like, I would say, essential to Finns to have summer cottage. In Saudi, we don't have this stuff because, well, most of the time it's summer in Saudi, so we didn't have summer cottage. Yeah, I guess that's kind of felt weird. And right now, because it's midsummer, Helsinki is kind of empty. I live in Espoo, so the streets are pretty empty. There are not too many people on the street because people go to their summer cottages right now and celebrate midsummer. That is it for today. Thank you guys for watching my episode, my first episode that I may ever. Please tell me your opinion, what you think about it, if there are any improvements I can do, if it is good. If you want to hear anything more about Finland, any questions, I'm here to answer your questions. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget, hit the like button, subscribe, and see you soon in the next video. Bye!